We are in Chester at the bottom of the locks. We need to go up the locks.
We're by Telford's warehouse. That's what people tend to call this basin.
And it's a nice little basin. It's a convenient place to be.
It's really nice. It's a little bit further out from town, so it's not as convenient as up there, but it's a bit nicer, I think.
We have sat here for a couple of days. We've met some viewers. That's been nice. Although we got a little bit of work done, but now we've got to go. We have a train to catch again.
So we've given ourselves 2 days to get to Nantwich again for the third time, and the trip from Nantwich to here, I think we did over 3 or 4 days.
And it's going to be a bit of a put up the locks to the Aldi.
There's a staircase of 3, which I'm not looking forward to because there's no one to go through with, and I just don't like those locks. They're very deep.
Yeah, and then the rest of the locks are deep and known to be a bit difficult when going up, so we're going to be a little bit slowed down by that today.
Yeah, we're just going to take it easy, take it slow.
Hopefully we will meet somebody.
That would be really nice. We are going to stop at the Aldi, which I think is after 2 locks after the staircase. There's a staircase and 2 locks, and I think there's the Aldi. We're going to stop there and do some shopping.
We'll be passing the shot tower, which now that I know about it, I kind of want to go. It isn't just a smoke tack, it's a shot tower.
Tell me about the shot tower.
It'll be on this side as we're driving up to it.
And it's called?
It's just called the Chester Shot Tower, and
it looks like a chimney.
It looks like a really big chimney, but apparently it was part of a manufacturing for lead shot. At the top of the tower, there was a sieve, and molten lead was run across the sieve, and then the droplets would fall through the sieve, and a rain of lead would fall, and over the distance that it traveled, the surface tension of the lead itself would cause it to form into a sphere. And it would cool sufficiently that by the time it hit the water at the bottom of the tower, it wouldn't be so hot that it would burst itself, or be so cold that it would deform itself. So it would hit the bottom of the tower and then instantly cool down and be a perfectly round red lead sphere for use in the army. So he made a rain of lead to make a rain of lead. George is over there being curious, which is why.
Yeah, sorry, he's doing poos, so I'm just checking where the poos are, and also there is a road, so.
We had a dog on our boat today.
Dennis
was cute. Dennis was a little little terrier, little buff-ball terrier. He came on, jumped on board of his own accord, went down and investigated the whole of the boat.
Was sad to find George's food bowl empty.
Yeah, and he was sad to find that a couple of the balls were too big for his head. But ultimately he left empty-mouthed and empty-handed, empty-pawed, and
Dennis's mother was mortified at Dennis's behaviour.
She was like, he's so cheeky. I'm like, yeah, he's a good dog. We'll keep him.
Anyway, let's go.
Yeah, we're on our way.
As we were passing, the crew on this boat called across to us to say that even though they were facing the other direction, they too were about to head up the Northgate locks, and would we wait for them?
So we got lucky, and it turns out there's a boat behind us that's also coming up. So we're waiting for them to turn while Joe goes to figure out what's going on with the lock.
The Northgate locks are a staircase of 3 wide locks. A staircase lock is where the top gates of one lock are also the bottom gates of the lock above, so there is no gap or pound between the locks. There are usually instructions at the top and bottom of a set of staircase locks advising boaters on how to prepare them for passage. To go up this staircase, the bottom lock needs to be empty and the other 2 locks should be full. You also need to make sure there are no other boats already using the staircase before you enter.
Coming up directly in front of me is the Bridge of Sighs. It's a very narrow bridge. Originally it had a railing of some sort, so you couldn't fall off of it, which seems kind of funny considering its use. The Bridge of Sighs was used to transport prisoners, so prisoners in the jail that I believe was on this side would be walked across to go to the chapel at the school on the other side to be given last rites before being put to death. Which I'm not really sure why they didn't just bring him back and chuck him in the canal. I mean, it's, you know, and I'm not sure that if I was condemned, I wouldn't just consider the idea of just jumping off that thing and being like, pretty sure I can swim. Yeah. But apparently, they went willingly, or at least, you know, not so unwillingly, across the Bridge of Sighs.
Here, the canal has entered a very deep cutting, and it runs alongside the city walls.
King Charles, or Phoenix Tower. Now, folklore has it that King Charles stood up there on the top of that and watched the defeat at Roughton Moor. I think folklore is wrong because Roughton Moor is over that way, and from the top of that tower you'd have been able to see nothing like Roughton Moor. You might have been able to see in the general direction, but I'm thinking he was actually over on Chester Cathedral. Just makes more sense. But still, it's kind of neat to think that up there, at some point, he stood before losing a battle and then losing his head. The Chester Shot Tower, from which lead was dropped to make balls of lead.
This is Chemistry Lock, and there are 2 boats heading down as we arrive. The red brick tower you can see in the background here is Broughton Water Tower. It's been a prominent feature on the Chester skyline since it was built in 1856. We stopped at Tarvin Road Bridge and hopped across to the Aldi to stock up. Our boat companions very kindly decided to wait for us and took the opportunity to have a tea break. Entering Greenfield Lock, you'll see that the narrowboat in front of us had to switch sides at the last minute as we couldn't get the gate all the way open. If they had stayed on the right-hand side, Perseverance wouldn't have been able to squeeze past the gate on the left and into the lock. These are the Golden Nook Farm permanent moorings, just over a mile of boats moored bumper to bumper, which means just over a mile at tickover.
We've had a lovely cruise.
Until about 30 seconds ago.
We're about a mile from where we decided to moor.
And we getting soaking wet quick.
Crank it.
We're a mile from this mooring. We were like, oh no, it's raining. Quick, batten down the hatches, get to the mooring. And now we're being blinded by sunshine.
Yeah, like Beeston Castle over here.
You couldn't see it, it was in the clouds.
It was like surrounded by cloud and everything. And we just thought, oh, it's going to get terrible. So we pulled right over, moored up, and then it's just a little bit of dusting of drizzle.
To be fair, we were planning to moor here because I don't have the energy to go through another lock today.
Yeah, so we're not. So we made it to Beeston Castle. We went all the way through Christleton, Roughton Moor, and all the way to Beeston. Long day, a lot of miles.
What we've just done today, we did in like 3 days going.
Yeah.
I've discovered the real reason we're going back to Nantwich. It's not because the train's cheaper, it's so that we can go back to the Snugbury's ice cream place.
It's so we can afford to go back to Snugbury's because the train is cheaper.
It was really funny this morning, just before we left. Well, you'd have heard, we said, oh, we were hoping a boat would come along, but it looks like we're going up the locks as we're on our own. And then we pulled off, and one of the boats moored on the other side started gesticulating at Michael.
Yeah.
Because they were facing the other way, but they were saying, we're turning around, we're coming up.
Yeah.
So that was really good. We had someone to go up the staircase lock with, which was extra good because there was no lock keeper.
And it was actually nice and smooth. Like,
yeah.
With the 2 boats there. It was a little daunting when we first pulled into the bottom lock because just before I pushed off to go into the lock, the water started flowing over the top.
Yeah, because you have to when it's 3 locks, and you have to fill the middle lock and the top lock, and everything was down. So when we got there, we started filling the middle lock and the top lock, but we didn't turn off the water soon enough. So then the only place it's got to go is over the top.
So yeah, it was daunting, but at the same time, like, actually not that bad. Like, once we got inside there, it was a smooth rise. And
it was so much nicer having someone to do the paddles with us, someone to do the gates with us, because those gates are heavy. And yes, someone in the lock to stop the boats bouncing around. And he said that they were going to get water, but they saw us leaving. They were like, right, let's go with them, because they wanted to go up with someone as well. So it worked out really well, and they were really nice people.
And then they went through all the locks with us.
Yeah, there was 2 more before we got to the Aldi, and we were like, oh, we're going to stop at Aldi. And they ended up stopping and having a coffee, waiting while I ran round Aldi so that we could go up the next 3 together, which was really nice.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And then we got off through the rest of them. Once all that excitement happened, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, no more locks.
No more locks.
It was about 5 or 6 miles.
Yeah.
7 miles.
Yeah, past a whole string of boats. Little bit of excitement because there was a small boat in front of us that we got up to, and then I was sort of chugging along after them. We were in basically tickover, so it was like, okay, we'll just keep moving along here. And then there was a boat coming towards us, and for some reason he sort of overcompensated a little bit, and
the boat in front of you?
Yeah, it just pulled a little bit more to the side than was necessary to allow the boat that was coming through to pass. And he must have rammed into a whole bunch of silt, because all of a sudden his boat just stopped. So
why didn't you stop?
Huh? Oh, I never hit the silt.
No, but why didn't you just stop and wait it out?
Oh, I tried. Yeah. No,
you had too much momentum.
Yeah, I had too much momentum, so I jumped down, put it in reverse, because he stopped so suddenly. And then
maybe we shouldn't have been so close.
Maybe we shouldn't have been so close. But then he started churning his, because he was trying to maneuver off, I guess, but he instead of reversing, he pushed forward, and then that was pushing us back, and that pushed us to the side, and then the guy came in, and so
we were like 4 abreast. There was like the moored boats, the boat going in the opposite direction, us, and then the one on the sill, like all in a line, which wasn't ideal. And then talking of tick over, we were just coming into these moorings, like just under the last bridge. I jumped off at the bridge, and then we carried on, and Michael got shouted at by a hire boater for going too fast.
slow down. And I
It was quite an aggressive slow down.
It was, and then I'm like, but I'm barely moving above tick over. I had to use a little bit of extra oomph to get off the bridge where I dropped you off, because I just wanted to turn into position, but then I just clicked it into tick over, so I'm passing them at tick
There's
over.
no way going.
And I get to slow down, and then I look back and I'm like, your ropes are all loose.
Yeah, his ropes were like dangling in the water.
They're dangling loose on front and back. You're not tied up. You're going to shift back and forth. But what do you think is going to happen if there's no tension on the rope at all?
I guess you couldn't judge how fast you were going.
Yeah. So that's basically the video of the long return from Chester to Beeston Castle.
We're in this lovely rural mooring. There's this grassy field that doesn't have sheep in it. There's 2 swans grazing.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
Yeah. It's a lovely place, nice and quiet, except
really
for the
nice.
train that occasionally goes by. So tomorrow morning, on to Snugberries. Right, George is doing that thing where he paws his face because there's bugs coming near him, so I'm going to get him indoors. Hope you enjoyed that.
Thanks very much for watching.
If you did enjoy
the
it.
video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below.
Yeah, right through Buddha's head there. And, well, that's Homer's head, Homer being, but anyway, it's complicated. And if you want to, subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more from us.
Should probably die.
Yeah, probably at this point, don't really need that. But if you need that, subscribe and click the bell if you want to get notifications. Ooh. Arr. Arr again.
Apparently we're pirates today.
I always wanted to work on a movie that's a pirate movie. I never did get to work on a pirate movie. I always wanted to be able to say, like, with, you know, before anybody could do it, spoiler, this one's rated R.
This one isn't rated R. To here, I think we did over. I think. Don't step on the chinchilla, people.
Yeah, that doesn't work, I think. She says, don't step on the chinchilla, people, because I dropped the chinchilla. Don't just step on the chinchilla, people. I missed the Oxford comma and went, don't step on the chinchilla, people.